You're about to hear Fascism, What It Is and How to Fight It, by Leon Trotsky, narrated by Will Stauff. Copyright 2018, BN Publishing online at bnpublishing.com. Fascism, What It Is and How to Fight It. 1969 Pamphlet Introduction, by George Lavin Wiseman. Liberals, and even more of those who consider themselves Marxists, are guilty of using the word fascist very loosely today. They fling it around as an epithet or political swear word against right-wing figures whom they particularly despise or against reactionaries in general. Since World War II, the fascist label has been applied to such figures and movements as Gerald L.K. Smith, Senator Joseph McCarthy, Senator Eastland, Barry Goldwater, the Minutemen, the John Birch Society, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and George Wallace. Now, were all these fascists or just some? If only some, then how does one tell which are and which aren't? Indiscriminate use of the term really reflects vagueness about its meaning. Asked to define fascism, the liberal replies in such terms as dictatorship, mass neurosis, anti-Semitism, the power of unscrupulous propaganda, the hypnotic effect of a mad genius orator on the masses, etc. Impressionism and confusion on the part of liberals is not surprising. But Marxism's superiority consists of its ability to analyze and differentiate among social and political phenomena. That so many of those calling themselves Marxists cannot define fascism any more adequately than the liberals is not wholly their fault. Whether they are aware of it or not, much of their intellectual heritage comes from the social democratic, reformist, socialist, and Stalinist movements, which dominated the left in the 1930s when fascism was scoring victory after victory. These movements not only permitted Nazism to come to power in Germany without a shot being fired against it, but they failed abysmally in understanding the nature and dynamics of fascism and the way to fight it. After fascism's triumph, they had much to hide and so refrained from making a Marxist analysis which would, at least, have educated subsequent generations. But there is a Marxist analysis of fascism. It was made by Leon Trotsky, not as a post-mortem, but during the rise of fascism. This was one of Trotsky's great contributions to Marxism. He began the task after Mussolini's victory in Italy in 1922 and brought it to a high point in the years preceding Hitler's triumph in Germany in 1933. In his attempts to awaken the German Communist Party and the Communist International, Comintern, to the mortal danger and to rally a united front against Nazism, Trotsky made a point-by-point critique of the policies of the Social Democratic and Stalinist parties. This constitutes a compendium of almost all the mistaken, ineffective, and suicidal positions that workers' organizations can take regarding fascism. Since the positions of the German parties range from opportunistic default and betrayal on the right, social democratic, to ultra-left abstentionism and betrayal, Stalinist, the communist movement was still on its ultra-left binge, the so-called third period, when the Nazi movement began to snowball. To the Stalinists, every capitalist party was automatically fascist. Even more catastrophic than this disorienting of the workers was Stalin's famous dictum that, rather than being opposites, fascism and social democracy were twins. The socialists were thereupon dubbed social fascists and regarded as the main enemy. Of course, there could be no united front with social fascist organizations, and those who, like Trotsky, urged such united fronts were also labeled social fascists and treated accordingly. How divorced from reality the Stalinist line may be illustrated, be recalling its translation into American terms. In the 1932 elections, American Stalinists denounced Franklin Roosevelt as the fascist candidate and Norman Thomas as the social fascist candidate. What was ludicrous as applied to U.S. politics was tragic in Germany and Austria. Recently, 1969, the term social fascism had begun cropping up in articles by members of the New Left. Do those using it imagine that they have invented the term? Or, if they are aware of its history, are they indifferent to its connotations? After the Nazis came to power, the Stalinists boasted that their line had been 100% correct, that Hitler could only last a few months, and that a Soviet Germany would then emerge. The time limit for this miracle was extended from 3, 6 to 9 months, and then the idle boasts dwindled into silence. The magnitude of the defeat suffered by the working class, the special character of fascism,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?